We will talk about the patient experience and their critical role in the research and innovation. And to delve into this panel, we have Begonya Nafria, Patient Engagement in Research Area Coordinator, Senior Expert on Patient and Public Involvement from Kids Barcelona Foundation. Quite a long name. Please welcome Begonya on the stage. We have Dr. Michał Deszczyński, an expert in the coordination of deformities and limb lengthening from the Paley European Insitute. Welcome on stage. We have Casper Reitz Mathiesen, lead play designer at Mary Elizabeth Hospital. Yes. And last but not least, the panel will be hosted by Joanna Sobolewska, a patient, parent, and founder of the Project Dignify Foundation as our moderator.
Good afternoon to everyone. I have to say that this is my third time in this conference, and today I'm coming always as a parent. And it's amazing to see that we are starting the discussion between the doctors, the researchers, the designers. And today I would like to start the whole discussion about research and innovation with this thing that have changed completely what I'm doing today and my way of thinking about the medical field. My younger daughter, who is now trying to sell the wolves, I'm promoting them as well right now. She went through the surgery in United States. The first day that we have entered the hospital, it was the day before the surgery. Someone has been thinking about the way how she will be feeling, and they have invited us to visit the hospital, to talk with her sister, with me and my husband. Someone was looking at the reaction of us, and someone have thought how to convince, at that moment, 3-year-old girl to go through the surgery in a way that 1 year after, she was saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, can we go to the hospital? I would like to go there." And it was this thing. What they have did, before the day of the surgery, they asked her, "Jadzia, would you like to have a special mask? You can select your color." Of course, there was this pink and the blue color. She selected that one. The minute after, they gave her the stickers. Of course, she could select the stickers in order to personalize this thing. But then the real magic have started when I was asking how the procedure will be carried. Will you be using the needles? Because she's afraid of the needles. And then they said like, no, let us concentrate on her right now. Now I'm trying to find one thing, which is a lipstick. There was a girl who came to us and she had a box full of lipsticks, different lipsticks with different flavors. And she asked, "What kind of smell would you like to have tomorrow that will be coming from this mask, because this mask is magical?" The lady, she had, I think, more than 20 already used lipsticks. And the task, Jadzia had only one, to select her favorite taste. At this time, when she was doing, and she was super busy, of course, with her sister, we were given instructions what will be happening the next day. To cut the story short, after that, the lady said, "Can you open the lipstick? Can you put the lipstick inside? And now you can smell it." The task was to take this at home, to change the environment of this thing, and to normalize something that will be used the day after. I was observing this, working as a customer experience manager in different companies, and I didn't realize how important it was, because 1 year after, when we went to the hospital, when my daughter, she saw the leaflet in the hospital, when there was something similar, it was this only one spark that have said to her head, there was a nice thing inside of the hospital. And for me as a parent, it was a great relief that she's not afraid of the hospitals. I have started this panel with this story because this is US experience. When I came back, I thought that it will be never possible to see this kind of things. And today on this stage, I have 3 people who exactly know why this is so important. There is one person who is using this kind of things, you will hear later on. And there's someone who knows how important is the play. So I'm super happy that I'm sitting today with this kind of with this specialist, with this mindset, and that I think they should be now saying who they are, what they are doing before I will ask the first question. Thank you. Casper.
Yeah, hello. My name is Casper. I'm a play designer in Mary Elizabeth's Hospital in Copenhagen. And to you that don't know what a play designer is, it's an experienced designer that designs with play in mind. So environments and tools or whatever that is building upon play mechanics. Yeah, not necessarily just for kids, also for anybody, just for humans.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you. Michał.
Hello everyone, my name is Michał Deszczyński. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. I run Paley European Insitute. It's a center specialized in deformity treatment and especially for children and young adults. So when I was a resident at one of the public hospitals, it was very difficult to me to accept the realities and the environment that I was working in. So I decided to change something in my life. I went for this quite long fellowship to US when I had the chance to see different setups of hospitals, of working environment. And then after this year, I came back to Warsaw, and due to my experience I've gained abroad, we set up this institute where we treat children and try to help them in very different pathologies regarding musculoskeletal system. Thank you.
Good afternoon to everybody. I'm Begonya Nafria. I'm working at Sant Joan de Déu Children's Hospital. This is the largest pediatric hospital that we have in Spain. And my role in the institution is to coordinate a department that is fully devoted to incorporate the voice of children, young people, and parents, in this case in research and in innovation. And for us, it's a value and a principle of the institution to involve them in any activity. There is more tradition probably from the patient experience side in healthcare, and it's more challenging when we work in clinical trials and in innovation, but never it's late. And for us, it's a must to be sure that in any project our families are involved. And this is basically my area of expertise.
So knowing that, and I just mentioned about the US, I think the first question will be, Begonya, to you. What about the perspective of European Union? How this engagement of patients, kids, and professionals, how important it is, and what you can see right now?
Yeah. In this case, Europe, and talking about research and innovation, it's more advanced than the US. Surprising, but it's more advanced. The context is different. In the US, probably the needs to involve the families and the patients are more in the healthcare, in the advocacy, because you know which system they have. But in Europe, we are lucky because we have public systems. And what we saw is that beyond to involve the patients and the families in the design or in the improvement of these services, the priorities at the European level were to promote more pediatric research. And in this sense, in 2007 was published the pediatric regulation. Nowadays, we have more research. But of course, it's not enough. Still, we have a lot of conditions that we don't have any therapeutic solutions. And recently, and I think that at this point also we are so advanced in Europe, last year was fully implemented the European Clinical Trials Regulation that encourage all the research teams to involve patients in the design of the protocols, that this is the right moment to incorporate them, because there are many decisions that it's going to be hard to adjust or modify afterwards. And in this sense, Europe is so advanced, of course, in the adult setting, because always it's first, pediatrics is always the last priority, but in the involvement of children and young people, we are doing a good progress, not only for this regulation, also because in 2017, with other 3 pediatric hospitals, we created a network of young persons advisory groups that we also coordinate from Sant Joan de Déu, and later on you will see a couple of our members that also have been part of the jury. And what we try to do is to coach and to teach and support other colleagues from other hospitals. We are working with the Children's Hospital here in Barcelona. We are working also in Denmark, across Europe, to replicate this model that at the end what it's promoting is to change the method to do research and incorporate the participation of patients and families from the early stages and of course until the end of the process.
But we're saying about the framework, about the process. Michał, talking about the innovation and the research, you as someone who is practicing, what the innovation means for you? I know that you like coding and you're pretty good with these things, but what does it mean for you?
So yes, that's a very good question. So it is very important in nowadays how can we help the professionals to focus more on the patients rather than on the bureaucracy. But still, I find it very important that the human factor and the human resources play a very major role in all of this, because at the end, if there is no empathy in the medical staff, you can have all this innovation and research and still it will not work as it's supposed to. So that's what I'm trying to, every day in my work. Of course, my main place is the operating room, operating theater. And as a physician, it's very difficult to participate in other activities like research and innovation, which I really love. And when I was a resident, I had this big problem because I had to fill out tons of forms working on the floor. So I came out with my own EMR software, which was just coded on a low code platform, and then I just share it with my colleagues that they can use it. But at the end, someone from the CEO of the hospital almost fired me from the hospital because it was the very beginnings of EMR systems in Poland. So I was almost fired because I was trying to have some kind of innovation in our working the daily routine, so we can focus more on the patients and on their needs. So that's a funny story of mine. And I always try to go not with the wave, but against the wave. And innovation is very important, but we must remember that the medical staff and their education needs to acquire some tools. How can they work with patients on daily basis? It's very important. How do we talk? How do we introduce ourselves? How do we explain the processes that our patients will go through? And I think this is very important, and we must not forget about this area of this, which is the part of the whole process.
And Casper, how, because you with your design thinking and a lot of ideas, how then healthcare professionals, patients, parents, how they can collaborate to make the change?
We are doing what you said you want to have done or be able to do, and most of the new things we create in our hospital, 90% of it comes from the practitioners. It's bad ideas. You guys get lots of bad ideas. You see clear problems and get a bad idea. And then people like me can make that idea better, but I will never get that idea in the first place that would fit. So together we can make this work. What I'm struggling with is how we make research, like scientific research, fit in this equation. It's difficult, but we also need that third party. So to me, like the triangular process of having the practitioners with the bad ideas, sorry, but you probably get good ideas, but some people get bad ideas. And then the design thinking, the methods and ways of understanding needs and wants and all that, and the process forward, and then also validate and prove that this is valuable to do, prove that this has a certain effect, so we can counter it, because we are all in scarce budgets, so we can't just do anything that looks fun. And then the last part that we also try to bring from the design team is a view on humans, like a perspective that we don't distinguish between children and grown-ups. We don't see play as a thing for children, and we're not trying to make a hospital that's child-friendly. It will also be child-friendly, but it has to be human-friendly, and it has to be treatment-oriented. We need to use play to make better treatment, to make a more humane workplace and so on, and that needs collaboration between all three parties.
Can you give us some ideas of the things that were coming from the doctors, you have changed it, or maybe they were coming from the parents?
Yeah, one example that I have is, I probably don't have the words in English for these things, so, but we have some children that are in isolation for a while. They got a bone marrow transplantation, and they get some medicine that tastes really, really bad. And to make that easier, they have to get that every day. We put in a tube into the stomach. What is it called? Like something like that. And that's not nice to have done, like put that in. And so we had this nurse that had tried to create this, like to explain this to an 11-year-old girl, that next day she was going to have this tube. And she explained it to her with a teddy bear, and they used some tape and scissors and stuff, and they built this version of it on the teddy bear. And they, with the syringes, they could put in like red juice or milk and stuff, and in and out of this bag and play with it. And then she was kind of, hey, now I get it. Like, this is a thing in there, I can put on it. And the next day she was just fine having this done. Then this nurse comes to my team and says, I have this great idea. And we're like, super idea, we can tweak it a bit. Let's do this in a way that we can implement as a mindset everywhere, and that every doctor or nurse has available and so on. And she did a small comic book. We helped her make that like great. And suddenly we have like a dialogue tool that anybody can do and use in many different ways. And then we try it out, and then we probably learned that this is way complicated, more complicated than it has to be, and then we can continue to tweak it. But we do it together with her and together with some families and different departments also.
I remember you was telling me something, because today there was a presentation about MRI scan, that you were also struggling with that part, and I think this is super easy solution that we could be sharing as well here. You don't remember?
Which one was that?
That the 95% of the kids, they don't need to go through anesthesia.
Oh yeah, we had this. Yes, we have I think our friend from Siemens almost mentioned it, but we have had this project, scientific project, without designers in it, where they had the children that was going into MRI. They came a few days before and had a practice session. We have a mock-up scanner that could do all the sounds and stuff. No magnetics, but the rest look the same. And they come in and they can try this out for a while. It takes about 35 minutes. And we have a 95% drop in general anesthetics in this project. So now we're testing some more. Like, I think it's around 60 children have been through this. And we're going to do a new round of this and so on. And yeah, so there are easy fix also. Yeah.
And what about now about the challenges and barriers in the research field? And I think I'm looking at Begonya because I think you know quite a lot in this area.
Yeah, we have many challenges. Probably the most tricky one, because it's not easy to adjust or to change, is that in some cases we take for granted that implement a clinical trial protocol with children for a drug that has been studied in adults, it's going to be the same project exactly. And children, I suppose that you have been speaking today about this, are not, small adults. And really, this clinical trial needs to be a different protocol. This is probably one of the challenges, but we have many other ones about formulation. Sometimes we don't think that children, they have some problems with some formulations, pills, the taste, the palatability. There are many elements around formulation, and still we are facing a lot of problems to have the right formulation for each, let's say, age different group. And in terms of the experience, when we design these trials, sometimes we forgot that children are children. They want to go to the school, even sometimes it's surprising. They want to go to the school, they want to go out with friends. And we are designing trials sometimes to be very sure from the research side about collecting many data, to be strong on this and, to do a very quality project. But in some cases, all this data, it's not used. And what we are adding is a big burden to these kids that, of course, they go to the regular standard of care of visits, and on top of this, many other medical procedures and visit of the clinical trials. There are plenty of things to change, and just when I was listening my colleagues, I think that there are two important things in this equation to change this paradigm. One is to train also the professionals to make closer to the parents and to the children and to have discussions and involve them in their projects. At the end, it's a change of mindset. But on the other way, it's the methods and the opportunities that we offer to these patients and to these families to work with us. If we don't adjust this, it's going to be so difficult. And for this, what we did a couple of years ago in our institution was to design a patient involvement strategic plan that is working with all the departments, for example, with the human resources, and we do every year training for our researchers to explain what means co-create a clinical trial protocol or an innovation project together. I think that there is something in the roots that we need to change, because if not, still it's very isolated, the experiences that we have that are good, it's common sense that are beneficial, but still it's a very small percentage of projects in which we really involve in the right way the patients and the families.
So, regarding change it's also very difficult, because from my experience, like when I became an attending and, finally as a doctor, I could decide, myself how I will treat and where. And, in my institution, in the exam room, what I start doing, I start removing the desk, because the desk is the worst barrier you have in a room. So, in a room, if it's in an adult or a child, there should be no barriers. So I was keep, putting this desk at the wall, but it was keep returning. And every day I started my work from moving the desk. So finally, somebody called me from the CEO, and they told me what I'm doing. It's because the ladies that are at the end of the work when they have to put it back. So, and then I said, no, I will start my own clinic, where I can do things that really I want to do. So it's very difficult even for the young doctors, to start something and start the process. So the same in our clinic, for example, we have these specialties days when we all dress as pirates, superheroes, so the kids don't really feel that they are in a medical institution. So we also have this, and Joanna, you know it very well, we have this special bell. So maybe this is that you can talk about this also, but it is so after each therapy and when the treatment is finished, so each child has to announce that I did the surgery, I had 30 days of therapy, and my treatment is finished. It's just part of the treatment is finished. So I want to announce to everyone, and we all gather in our lobby in the clinic, and we congratulate the individual that we're happy for him that they did it, and for us they are the most important. So there are many small things you can do in your practice. You don't need this funding, just really small things you can change in your daily routine to make it better. And that's what I would advocate from my side, is sometimes just zoom out, go above this labyrinth of very complex and difficult processes, but you can see some and do some minor changes, and that will make a great and successful impact on your daily work, how you do it.
Casper, would you like to add something? Because when I'm thinking about you and this what you're doing, and I saw you somewhere internet, the Lego story. So is it difficult to go and to change the mindset of the professional? Because the story that Michał said about this bell, guys, I went to 5 different clinics and I said, let's do the bell. I will produce this bell. And the story is super simple, but everyone was saying but our kids are having really long life therapies, so they are coming here every month or every quarter, and they cannot finish this treatment so easy. So even the mindset that my therapy have finished this month and I have the right to ring the bell. Do you see this kind of obstacles when you are coming and, you know, like designing, because you are interrupting the daily operations?
We try not to too much. I think that we also have a bell that they ring when they have done like chemotherapy for one round and so on, and we talk about other ways of making a mark, like celebrating and so on. I think that we are aware that we are changing culture, and we are aware that it takes time. So right now we are super friendly. We meet the practitioners with the ambitions that we not necessarily show that much, and then we try to mirror their own ambitions where it fits our ideas. And I have never met, I've maybe met one, but not that many that are not on the same team when it comes to actually making it a better experience. We have a lot of doctors and nurses that fully believe that they are allowed to do better treatment if they have a better relationship with the family, that the child are better at being examined if they are cool, and the child is cool if the parents are cool, and so on. So like they know that play can help this, and the environment helps, and also I think what is maybe needed is in a very rigid and rational workplace and system of a hospital, the maneuverability is missing maybe. So you have room to do things in a new way and improvise, being creative as a practitioner, because they are already all the time, as I experience it. But I think we should maybe acknowledge that skill. To me, the hospital is one of the most creative places I've worked. They are constantly doing things in a new way, have to react super fast, find new ways to solve a problem or a new situation, and things are happening with very short time limits. So I think there are maybe some power to release in that area also. And that's what we're trying to do slowly over the next, we open in 3 years, so we have some time yet to, yeah.
Amazing to hear that the hospitals are the most creative places.
One of them.
Bueno, okay. What is the second one? Apart from Lego.
I'll be the first.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I would like to ask Begonya how patient engagement can enhance the research and innovation process, because you said that there are some barriers, but how important is this young patient voice?
Yeah, for us it's the only way to really, be in the other side, because professionals, adults, of course, we have a bias, and the teenagers or the young people of the present moment are, so far from our present moment, and the ways to have this different perspective. They have, a unique experience. They live 24 hours, 7 days per week with a disease, and they are facing many other things beyond the disease. And this is the value that they provide for us to the projects. Of course, we never discuss with them, for example, the mechanism of action of a treatment. There is no discussion. It's a scientific, element. But we can agree with them if, some components of the design are acceptable, if we can improve this, because at the end, if we don't have this early dialogue, at the end, we have problems in recruitment, in adherence. And for us, this is the value that they provide to us. We have different methods and different ways to do it. And also we are trying to innovate as much we can, because many years ago, basically, the involvement of children and young people was with interviews, questionnaires, and they don't like this. And sometimes it's very, narrow the opportunities to get their feedback. And nowadays, what we are doing, it's innovating in methods, and beyond patient journeys, co-creation, and all this stuff, what we are doing is simulation of clinical trials. And this is, the most realistic, and we refer high realistic simulation, the method, the most realistic way to test everything before this will be implemented in the real world. And we are getting very important results. Basically in areas that probably we don't have too much experience, because everybody now is talking about digitalization, decentralization of clinical trials, but in pediatrics, still it's something not really implemented. For example, about the electronic assent process, we have in our hospital more than 350 trials working at that moment, and in none of them we have seen these tools. And with simulation, we can anticipate, we can adjust things in the right moment, and we can really design and execute patient-centric, a very marketing concept, clinical studies or any other project. For us also, patient and public involvement, it's an area to do research.
I like not really like, this what you said, the marketing and patient in the center. I don't agree that this is a marketing thing, and why?
It's used.
Yeah. No, but I would like to now call Michał, because I remember a few years ago we did an amazing research inside of the institute where we were mapping the patient journey. And to be honest, I thought that, okay, it will be another, like marketing thing, exactly like you said. But then what the institute did with that, they really took it and they were implementing a super easy ideas where you don't need a clinical trial. I will just give my example from 5 months ago. When my daughter was under the surgery, she was in the operating room with Michał, I have received a 3 WhatsApp messages from the lady who was like a patient care coordinator, who was informing me what is the current stage, not to be stressed downstairs. And I knew that, okay, the part of the doctors is finished. Now they're, like putting the stitches. You could be seeing your daughter in 20 minutes. It was amazing. It was super fast to be implemented. That's why I would like to emphasize this patient in the center approach, even small research that is being done. And I don't know, Casper, Michał, you could be giving more examples, because this is just, like my personal experience with that. But there are tons of the things that we could be calling innovation, and they are really doable.
So, I can say, like, this is very unpopular, but what I think that the doctor, he needs to step down from the spotlight. So we need to introduce other parties, like the parents, design team, the research team, to have a voice in this whole process. It's very important, because honestly, I just want to focus on my patients, and that's the most important thing for me. And we have to finish with, especially in our country, with this patriarchic system, when the doctor is the most important part of this whole riddle. But it's really working when you work in a team and you accept other ideas, and you just as in our institution, as you said. So in one day we can change the whole process of how we interact with the patients, and it's amazing. Imagine doing this in a big hospital. It's impossible to make a change. And as you said, instantly we can change all the processes in like 2 days with our patient coordinators. And so I don't know how it's, how can this be implemented in like a bigger, institutions. But it's possible. Maybe smaller teams, and give them more freedom how they want to work and with whom. That's what I think.
Yeah, the freedom part, right? So you have the maneuverability to do what is fitting for the situation. I don't think we can do WhatsApp stuff in Denmark, actually. I don't know if you do all your patients' families, but when it's needed, then you do what you can do that makes it work and be better. I think that making space for all those things is a way forward. Yeah, we have one example of like one problem I have with the pace of innovation in hospitals that's coming from the outside world, that is really, really slow. Like a PhD takes 3 years, and I like a bit faster pace. So in terms of getting like recruit test persons for a test and so on, when it's not medicine or critical equipment and stuff like that, but just experience stuff like new bed sheets or like colors on the walls or whatever. Like I need someone to have an opinion as a user perspective the next day. And we did this, we call it the Test Bunny panel. We have around 1,000 people now in this Test Bunny panel. It's old employees, it's families, it's everything, and it's a scientifically approved onboarding system, and so. But we can search for certain people. So if I need 2 women that gave birth within the last half year, I can find them and ask them, do you want to come, and I need to show you this thing and get some input. So the pace is up. And then when we got something that makes sense that need to test for real, then we have a research team that takes over. So, but that goes all the way back down the other way also. So when someone gets an idea, but lacks maybe the technology or the graphics or whatever, we talk about having design service available for our practitioners, so someone can help them 3D print a thing or graphics or whatever they need, like fast, to try an idea out in their practice immediately.
Amazing. Just I think to close the discussion, I'm not just a parent of 2 girls. I'm representing here, I think, families who are trying to navigate through this super difficult for us healthcare environment reality. What, from your perspective, from your area, what could be done, changed, how we should be thinking to live in a, I don't want to say better, but easier reality for parents and for kids? I know we haven't agreed with this question, but
No. I was
my
thinking
heart.
that it's complex. No, it's not agreed, no problem. I like the surprise questions. But I think that it's complex to answer because it's not only internally in the system, sometimes it's in the society. One example, we organized 3 weeks ago a conference in the hospital, and we were looking for parents to explain the experience of being involved in a clinical trial. I had to call many families because not for the interest to participate, because all of them, they were willing to explain their experience. But in this case, they said, I cannot do it because I can lose my job. I'm a lot of days in the hospital for many hours. I need to compensate this time. And in this case, I'm asking for a permission for a couple of hours for a conference, not to go with my child to the hospital. And this is one example about the society. We are not aware about what it means to live with a child with a chronic, complex, and in some cases also a degenerative condition. And in my case, that I'm from the research, field, everything is on top of the standard of care. And I think that we need to change things inside, of course, and outside. And inside, I mentioned training of the professionals. Sometimes the most reluctant people, when they go through projects and they see the benefits, they come back again and say, okay, I want your help. And another thing that we don't have mentioned is that to change everything, of course, you need the right people there. You need, that the CEO or whatever takes decisions will, invest in staff to do all these activities, because at the end, it's a matter of time and resources. And surgeons, they need to do their work, but the people working in the patient experience and the patient engagement areas, they can support them. And I think that this is the right model. Work as a team with the experts in this staff, with the patients and the families, but also this requires, an investment and the support from the institution to change, everything around, because it's impacting all the departments of the institution. But it's a complex but a very good question. Thank you.
No, I lost 2 jobs because of the surgeries, yes. Thank you. Thank you for this part. Michał?
So, what I always try to do is to think, if I were the patient, what I would, expect. And that's very important. So the second thing that Begonya said, that, throughout my professional career, which is a big word, I was lacking true mentors that would help me, to guide me on my road to success and to better treatment. So this is still a big problem, that, because of these funding problems and these other, the doctors are so pursued by achieving the results of financial results of the department, which is sometimes a big obstacle to think out of the box, because we are so focused on the financial aspect of our our work. So that's the second thing. And and the last thing is like, because I became like a part of my family that is have a big medical problem, and we had many like conversations in the corridor and in the places that were not suitable for this. And this is also, again, a medical education is a very important thing, and we need to stress out these points: how to educate young doctors, how can we motivate them, how empathy is something that you're not born with. You can really learn this, and you can really approach differently to your patients and to care more about them. And and that's why we became doctors, to help other people. So this is number one of our work. So again, this is not something that we are born with. We need somebody, some people do it better, somebody else worse, but it needs to be the part of our education, I think.
Thank you for this voice, Casper.
I think that we in our hospital in Denmark, we're trying to create a place that focuses on the family and not the child as such. We want to create like a better hospital stay for the whole family, of course for the child and the treatment's case success. But we also want like the family to get back to a good life afterwards. We want the family to stay together. Less divorces, less loss of jobs, and so on, and siblings that also thrive and don't get like additional problems in the family. So we try to encompass all of the family's needs in pursuit of helping the child. And some of our children, they don't make it. So we still have a family that needs to work afterwards. That's what we're trying to build a hospital for. So a more holistic idea of the family around the child, which also means that we're going to mobilize the parents better in being part of the treatment and the life of having a chronic disease maybe. And we are also trying to push more of the treatment home so they can have a more normal life at home. But that also needs a lot of training of the parents and collaboration and earlier bridging the gap between home and hospital and so on. So I think that is the mindset we're trying to create. And then as a practitioner, being able to be okay with this new broader scope of treatment and not just fixing the body that is sick, that we don't do here, but some places that happens. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I don't know, how do you feel, but I feel that this is a great step, and I would like to say a big thank you for the organizers, both from Spain and from Poland, because I have the feeling that with this kind of people and with all of you, we can really build, as Begonya said, a society, and like Michał said, with the great mentors, people, organizations who could be caring not only about patients but also for the whole families. And I'm really honored that I'm sitting here with this mask and that you were listening for 45 minutes. These important people. Thank you so much.
Maybe there is a question from the audience, because we still have 5 minutes, although we were pushing this agenda, to go forward. It happens that we still have 5 minutes. So if any of you would like to ask any questions, or question, maybe not plural, let's make it one. And if not, I might have one, because kind of a big topic right these days is human factor studies, basically, which are involving many times the end user, and the end user in many cases is patient, So I don't know, like, what is your approach? Do you work with human factor studies? Do you even know about? I know that in Poland it's kind of hard, because once I was looking for a company which would do the human factor studies, and I couldn't find one. And I know that the kids are trying to do something like this in the experience in the hospitals, like in the memorial hospitals. But is it like a normal practice in your ecosystem, in the world that you live in, that you are super inclusive and engage patients and actually do 10 interviews, at least 10 interviews in theory with those patients to actually get to know what are their needs to project or to design something which is the best for them?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm a bit baffled about the question, actually, because in my perspective, you can't design stuff without talking to the users. I'm not fully on board on end users. Like there are many users. Like 50% of my users are personnel. 25% of my users are parents. 5 to 8% of my users are children that are awake. So you need to know your users and around those users what other stakeholders and so on, but you need to talk to them a lot. And sometimes co-creation is not having like the child and you co-create stuff. It might be together with the parents and so on, but that's a mix you do. But if you design stuff, it's not about how it looks and how it works. And you need to be doing that together with the ones using it in the end. So we do that only.
I'm referring, for example, because many times you have, sometimes the public money is easier to get than the VC from the market. So to get the money from the market, you really need to show that there is a need for this design. But if you're a researcher and you are looking for the public money, it's easier for you actually to focus on your area expertise, or what do you think is the best, not what is actually the best or what is needed like in the market. This is maybe why you have the more business approach, I would say. But the same with the co-creation of the of the rooms for the children, for example. I had experience once that there was a hospital which was about to renew the admission ward, the ER, let's say. And I actually started to talk with them because this hospital was close to me, and I asked kids actually to come on board. And I told Sabina, who is the UX lead in the kids, let's go to this hospital, let's design a workshop for them and maybe help them to co-create the space, because they're right now in the stage where they need our help. And during this actually workshop, we heard that people were confused. We're like, you ask us to bring on board surgeons and doctors and the management and the nurses? What for? We are talking about the design of the ER. What do you need them for? And we said, like, really, guys, this is important. Let's bring them together. And during this meeting, we told them, you know what? And it would be best as well to bring on patients and ask their opinion. And they were like super confused and freaked out. Like, we're going to ask patients about, how they want to have the route in the hospital, in the ER? Yes, actually, we would love to do that, But it's still not a mindset that we have in many places. Maybe in this perfect world we would have that, and I would love that. But still, I think there is a lot of education needed to be done, and panel discussions like this one that will include all the stakeholders needed to make it happen.
But sometimes you don't need a very sophisticated research. I will just give you an example from the clinic. And the lady, she's actually sitting here. She's from the marketing department, and whenever I'm in the clinic, and I'm pretty often over there, she's coming and she's saying, like, is there anything that I can do for you? Or after the treatment, when the doctor is leaving always, Michał is leaving, there is a lady who is a patient coordinator. She's always asking, is there anything else that we can do for you, or anything bothers you here? So this is about this also regular feedback that you are being asked. Me as a parent, this is super important. And then after a few weeks, I see that all of these things are happening. My voice is being heard. So this is also a great word of mouth that I could be creating as a parent, as an ambassador of the place, and as I think, active family member of the child who is being treated. So
a follow-up, what do you think about the NPS score or any kind of a questionnaire after you're in the hospital? Because usually, at least in Poland, when you enter the Google Maps, for example, and you look for hospital, when a hospital has 2.5 stars or 3 stars, it's like, whoa, this is amazing that they had 3 stars. Because usually the people who leave feedback are the people who got annoyed or who were treated badly, not the ones that actually had the good experience. Maybe they used the word of mouth, as you mentioned. So what is your, as well, opinion on the NPS from the patient side? This is not a medical tool. It's more of a marketing tool in the end. But to some extent, it kind of may show some kind of a quality, at least in the service that we have in the hospital, or how you're treated.
I think NPS is a good factor, but it could be used in 2 ways. One, it could be used as a navigation among different hospitals, different clinics, competition-wise. But if you have internally designed the process of data gathering and data analysis in a way that really the stakeholders could be receiving the proper information, and then they have the willingness to do something with that, then it's a great tool. It's a great tool. You could be having regular CSAT, or the lady who is sitting and is asking, is there anything that I can do for you? Unless you will not do anything with that, it's totally useless. So it's
Feedback loop.
Yes, not really feedback loop, but the engagement of people. They need to have the feeling that I can do something with that, and this is really meaningful. In the big organization, you could be paying an extra bonus for that, but in the healthcare, I think you need to have a people either with passion or great mentors who could be showing you that it really matters, that this is really changing the lives of people.
Great, thank you. Thank you again for this panel discussion.
Thank you.
Thanks again.